Hello dear students, in today's session I start the new chapter of financial management, that is dividend decision. Dividend decision, the new chapter. I did in the previous classes credit management, capital budgeting. Now I take dividend decision. A comparatively smaller chapter as far as the length is concerned, and also a very scoring chapter. Please do this chapter very carefully, because it is a good opportunity for you all to score. Of course, all the chapters are scoring, there is nothing much, but यहाँ पे there are formulas and it is very scoring. Now, before we go into the formulas or the main part, first, as per my system, what I've been always doing, let's understand first the meaning of the name of the chapter, dividend decision. I don't have to explain the meaning of decision. What is dividend? All of you all have heard the word regularly, dividend. But I'm 99% sure most of you all still don't know the exact meaning of dividend. Dividend क्या होता है? Dividend is the return given by a company. Only a company can give dividend. Why? Because it is the return earned by the shareholders on their hard-earned money, which is invested by them in the company. Dividend is the return which the shareholders get on the investment made by them of their hard-earned money given to the company. A company comes out with an issue, you all know that. People like you and me, we invest our hard-earned money to the company. You all know very well. Shares can be issued only by the company. So when the shares are issued, it becomes a part of owner's fund. You all have done it earlier. It becomes a part of owner's fund. Therefore, it is also called as proprietor's funds, and it becomes a part of the sources, which is nothing but share capital, which is owned by the shareholders. Company में क्या होता है? Shareholders are the owners and directors are the people who manage. So shareholders का खुद का पैसा is given to the company in the form of share capital. जैसे how we put our money in bank, we get interest. We put our money in debentures or deposits, we get money in the form of interest. So bank, company, as far as the fixed deposits or public deposits is concerned, debentures, bonds, there is interest payment. Now why there is interest there? Because all these sources now, bank fixed deposits, or you call it as public fixed deposits issued by the company, fixed deposits issued by the company, bonds, these are all type of debt funds. Debt मतलब it is in the form of loan. आज हम किसी को लोन देंगे या किसी से लोन लेंगे, इट इज अ टाइप ऑफ बोरिंग. या तो मैंने लोन लिया है, मेरे लिए बोरिंग है, मैंने किसी को लोन दिया है, उसके लिए बोरिंग है. दैट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ borrowed funds. When you take loan, when you make the balance sheet, when the company makes the balance sheet, you all know that it is a part of long-term borrowing and appears in non-current liabilities, or if it is a short-term borrowing, it appears in current liabilities. But when I say share capital is a part of owner's funds. So owner's fund pay, there can never be interest. Interest is always on borrowed funds. So owner's funds पे क्या होता है? Owner का main fund invested with the company is share capital. So on the share capital, the company gives them dividend. company gives dividend to the shareholders for the money which is invested by them, the hard-earned money invested by them and given to the company. So that is dividend. In short, dividend is a return earned by the shareholder for the money which is invested by them to the company in the form of share capital. Got it? That is dividend. I know मैंने कुछ ज़्यादा एक्सप्लेन कर दिया, but I'm sure many of you all have forgotten. So अभी ये चैप्टर में करना क्या है? Dividend decision. Company has to decide. The board of directors who manage the company have to decide हर साल डिविडेंड का स्ट्रैटेजी क्या करना है. So the strategy which they decide, there are certain factors. So वो factors को mind में रख के they have to decide what call we take for dividend. Okay, that is dividend decision. Now coming further, you all know you all are doing it since FYJC. शेयर कैपिटल दो टाइप के होते हैं. एक होता है प्रेफरेंस शेयर कैपिटल और दूसरा होता है इक्विटी. Preference and equity. What is the difference between the two? When it comes to comparison between preference share and equity share capital, preference shareholders have two preferences over equity shareholders. Preference shareholders have two preferences over equity shareholders. सबसे पहले, preference shareholders get a fixed rate of dividend. प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स का रेट ऑफ डिविडेंड इज फिक्स. कंपनी लॉस करे प्रॉफिट करे, दे आर एंटाइटल्ड फॉर अ फिक्स रेट ऑफ डिविडेंड. सेकेंड, व्हेन द कंपनी क्लोजेस डाउन, प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स गेट द मनी फर्स्ट. आफ्टर द अकाउंट ऑफ प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स इज सेटल्ड, द नेक्स्ट अमाउंट गोज टू द इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स. सो सबसे पहले प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स को उनका पैसा मिलेगा. After that, the equity shareholders will get their money. That is the criteria for preference shareholders having two preferences, or you can say two advantages over equity share capital. Now let's forget the second one. Let's take the first one because right now we are concerned with dividend. Preference shareholders का dividend fix होता है. उसमें कंपनी को कुछ डिसीजन लेने का जरूरत नहीं है. यू डोंट हैव टू क्रैक योर ब्रेन्स बिकॉज प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स को तुम्हें फिक्स रेट ऑफ डिविडेंड देना है. डिसीजन कहां लेना है, ब्रेन्स कहां क्रैक करना है? व्हेन इट कम्स टू डिविडेंड which is to be paid to the equity shareholders. You have to take a decision. Decisions are to be made when it comes to paying dividend to equity shareholder. Why not preference? Because तुम्हें उनको फिक्स रेट देना है, उसमें दिमाग लगाने की जरूरत नहीं. सो द फोकस ऑफ दिस चैप्टर, व्हेन आई से डिविडेंड डिसीजन, इट इज फॉर डिविडेंड which is to be paid to the equity shareholders. It is for dividend which is to be paid to the equity shareholders. Now you all will think ना, क्या डिसीजन लेना है? Dividend is a return. Now, if you all recollect, you all have done in SY, vertical financial statements and management accounting. Dividend is always a part of appropriations. Also, BAF students SY में you all have done company final accounts. Dividend was always adjusted against P&L. Dividend never came in your income and expenditure or your profit and loss account. It was directly adjusted in the balance sheet under the schedule or the notes of accounts of reserves and surpluses because it is an appropriation. Why appropriation? Because it is not necessary that you have to pay every year. You see your profitability. So now coming to dividend decisions. ध्यान रखना, इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स में डिविडेंड फिक्स नहीं होता है. तो क्या होता है? डिपेंड्स अपॉन द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द कंपनी. डिपेंड्स अपॉन द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द कंपनी. If the performance of the company is very good, equity shareholders can get a much higher rate of dividend. You can get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, sometimes even 100, depending upon the performance. If the performance of the company is too good, they will get high rate of dividend. If the performance of the company is average or moderate, they may get comparatively lower rate of dividend. If the company goes into losses, the equity shareholders for few years till the time the company doesn't recover, they may not get dividend at all. So इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स को हाई रेट ऑफ डिविडेंड मिल सकता है अगर कंपनी का परफॉर्मेंस इज गुड. They can get a low rate or average rate if the company ka performance is moderate, and if the company ka performance is bad, they are not performing or they are going into losses, then the company may not get dividend at all. So these factors they have to keep in mind when the directors decide whether we are supposed to pay dividend or not. And one other important point, it is not in the sum, but I would like to mention for your practical knowledge. Even if the company, अभी मैंने क्या बोला, company का performance is good, they can get high rate of dividend. Sometimes what the company does, even if their profitability ka performance is very good, they may not give dividend, but they can give the shareholders something else which is much bigger than dividend. You all have done it. SY में bonus shares. So if the company wants to satisfy shareholders with a better thing, they will say we will not declare dividend. Rather than giving you all dividend, we will give you all bonus shares. Bonus shares क्या होता है? The shares which are given free of cost. And any company, when they want to give bonus shares, they will give bonus shares only when they have a good amount of reserves. They will give bonus shares only when they have good amount of reserves. So all these factors the company has to keep in mind, the board of directors have to keep in mind before they take a call on how much dividend is to be paid or whether is to be paid or no. That is the concept of dividend decision. Of course, when we come to the sum, the criteria will change, but then this is the major thing. Whatever I am explaining right now, very important to understand the concept and to write the theory. Got it? Now see, there are certain factors which you have to consider while taking a call on how much dividend to be paid. It is given there in the theory also. Now, the factors, very important question for theory also. Factors to be kept in mind at the time of declaring dividend. Now, factors can be of two types. One is internal and the other is external. Factors for dividend will be two, internal and external. Okay, two factors, internal and external. Now, what do you mean by that? As the name suggests, internal. Internal means within the company. Internal means within the company, and when I say external, external means outside the company. Internal means within the company and external means outside the company. Now, what are internal factors? I already explained majority of them. Company का profits कितना है? How much profit the company has earned in the current year? How much profit the company have earned in the past? उनका reserves कितना है? Does the company have any expansion plan? आगे जाके expand करना है, पैसा लगेगा, so dividend मत दो. Let's use that money which you are planning for dividend, use it for expansion. अगर एक्सपैंड हुआ, ग्रोथ हुआ, शेयर होल्डर्स को और अच्छा डिविडेंड मिलेगा. So these are all internal factors. The strategy, long term strategy क्या है? As I told you, अपना whether they have expansion plans, expansion plan है तो dividend कम दो या तो मत दो. Profitability क्या है? Is the company going into losses? Are there extra expenses to be incurred? क्या अपना sales बढ़ रहा है? All these factors are example of internal. In short, those factors which affect the company within itself are called as internal factors. It is there in the theory. Later on, I'll give you the marking also. Coming to the second one, that is external. External means that which affects outside the company, that which has an effect outside the company. जैसे कि बजट आया, कुछ चेंजेस हुआ, इट में अफेक्ट द कंपनी. गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ पॉलिसी चेंज किया, इट में अफेक्ट द कंपनी. कॉम्पिटिटर्स का कुछ स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज हुआ, टू फाइट कॉम्पिटिशन, company have to consider few things. So those factors which are not within the company but outside, that is external, जैसे गवर्नमेंट स्ट्रैटेजीज, चेंज इन गवर्नमेंट प्लान्स, कॉम्पिटिटर्स का स्ट्रैटेजी, और एनी एडवर्स फैक्टर, कभी नेचुरल कैलामिटी हो गया, इट इज अफेक्टिंग द कंपनी. ऑल दीज आर एक्सटर्नल बिकॉज कंपनी को डायरेक्टली इफेक्ट नहीं कर रहा है, बिकॉज इट इज नॉट विद इन द कंपनी. It has taken place outside, but it is going to have an indirect impact on the company. That is external factor, direct or indirect impact. So two factors, internal and external. Internal within the company, external outside the company, but both have an impact on the performance of the company, and indirectly that will have an impact on the decisions which they are supposed to take as far as declaration of dividend is concerned. So that is internal factors and external factors. Got it, guys? So this is the thing. So factors, internal and external. Now coming to the main part of your syllabus. As I told you that it is a shorter chapter. There are sums, even the sums are small. They are all formula based sum. Now when I say formula based sum, now before I come to the formula, there are four types of formulas in this, and today in this session I'll just take the first type and I'll just take one small basic sum to get the concept, and the next class may I'll continue further. Okay, now before that, there are certain financial analysts, or you can say financial experts, who have developed the formulas for dividend decision. Every one of them had their own criteria. There are many people who have invented, but coming to or restricting to the extent of your syllabus, there are four financial experts, or you can call financial analysts, who have developed certain modules, certain models, and on that basis, according to the criteria, their mindset, they have developed formulas which company have to keep in mind while declaring dividend. As I told you, every analyst, every expert has a different criteria. So what we are going to study in this chapter will be the developed model or the formula created by four financial experts. The last one is old traditional model, very rare now in practical life, but it is there in the syllabus. Now before I get into the first formula, let's see what are the names of those. The first, what I am going to do once I'm in today's session, is the model developed by analyst called as Walter. So we call it as Walter's model. Walter is the name of the person who has invented a model for dividend. क्या invent किया? What is the formula? We will see in some time. Okay. Second is Gordon. फर्स्ट वाला वॉल्टर, सेकेंड वाला गॉर्डन. ओके, फर्स्ट वाला वॉल्टर, सेकेंड वाला गॉर्डन. नेक्स्ट, third is we call it as model. That is nothing but Modigliani and Miller model. We call it as Modigliani and Miller model. It is commonly called as model. And the fourth, that is a traditional approach. As I told you, practical life में उसका implementation कम है, but it is there in your syllabus, so we'll have to do that. The fourth is Graham and Dodd model. Graham and Dodd model. Last session, I'll just focus on this. There are around 4-5 sums to be done. एक ही session में around half an hour 40 minutes में सब हो जाएगा. So this I will take it in the last class. These three are very important. When I say these three are important, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि ये important नहीं है. ये syllabus में है. So whatever is prescribed in your syllabus, everything is important from your exam point of view. Okay, so what we are going to study from now onwards, today and the next few classes till the time the chapter doesn't get over, models developed by the experts Walter, Gordon, Modigliani and Miller, which I told you we commonly call it as and the traditional approach or the traditional method which was originally developed by Graham and Dodd. So sums will be based on all four of them. The first 2 to 3 classes will go for Walter. Then I'll take Gordon. One session will be combination of Walter and Gordon, because Walter Gordon के individual sums are not worth 15 marks. Yeah, they can ask you 7-8 marks का Walter, 7-8 marks का Gordon. But individually, it is rare that 15 marks will come. Yes, Walter में आ सकता है, but in 4 different parts. That you will see when we come in the next to next class, where there are big sums, where small calculations, but 3, 4, 5, so those are worth 15 marks. Modigliani and Miller, yes. Modigliani and Miller में there is less variation, but the sums of Modigliani and Miller are worth 15 marks. क्या है? That we will see when we come to that. And Graham and Dodd में छोटे छोटे sums है, not at all worth 15 marks, just worth 8 to 7 marks. Got it, guys? So these are the 4 models developed by the experts Walter, Gordon, Modigliani and Miller, and Graham and Dodd, which we will study over a period of next few days till the time we are not done with this chapter. So now, as I mentioned, I will get into the first one, that is Walter model. We will see what is the model, what is the formula developed by him, and I'll take one basic sum in this session. Okay, understand the formula, the calculation, very simple. Next 2 to 3 days we are going to do that only. If you get today ka concept, next 2-3 classes are very simple. It is just calculation, 3-4 calculations you are supposed to do. 3-4 matlab same calculation 3-4 times with a little bit of modification. Now what is Walter model? I'll just come back to that. I'll just rub the board and I'll be back in a second. Okay guys, coming to the first model, as I told you, Walter's model. I'm just taking one sum on Walter model and I'll continue in the next class. Okay. Now, what is the model developed by Walter? Now we will do the calculations. After doing the calculation, we'll get one answer. Okay. How to get, we will see in some time, but understand the concept. The answer what we are going to get will be the expected market price or the market price per share. Now let's take an example. The answer which comes after calculation of the model developed by Walter is, say for example, 100. Now this is the market price. Now what is the logic of calculating this? Suppose the answer is 100. That means the expected market price developed by Walter is rupees 100. So those who follow Walter model, see, everybody doesn't follow all of them. Everybody has their own mindset, own type of, there are different type of investors. So everybody has a different mind frame, different mindset. So they may follow Walter, they may follow Gordon, they may follow Modi, Gilani, Miller, they may follow Graham and Dodd. So those who follow Walter, what they will do? Suppose the answer is 100. That means according to the Walter model, the market price should be 100. So today if I want to buy the share from the market, they say 100. So if it is available at 100 or less than 100, buy it. But if the market price is more than 100, then it is expensive. Think twice before buying. Nobody can force you. So what Walter suggests is, once you get this 100, how to get this 100 we'll see in some time. Again I am repeating. Suppose the price is 100. If I as an investor or if any investor wants to buy, if Walter says 100, market में अगर ये share 100 या उससे कम मिल रहा है, buy it. But if it is more than 100, then it is expensive or costly. You take your call. It is costly whether you want to buy or not. So that is the concept here. Okay. Now, what is the model or the formula? Understand this formula very carefully. I am going very slow. First, what I told you, the answer 100. Market price per share. We call it as P. P means market price per share. Below the formula, I will write what stands for what. Is equal to D. You all have done it in SY also, ratios mein. D is dividend per share. So the amount of dividend per share, that will be D. Plus brackets mein E. E means earnings per share. Brackets mein E, earning per share. From this, again deduct dividend. That means this is the dividend per share, the portion of profit which the company is distributing. E is what I have earned. E is what I have earned. D is what I have distributed. Keep one thing in mind. You all have done it earlier also. I will pay dividend only when I have E. Only when I am earning, then only I pay dividend. अगर मैं अर्न ही नहीं कर रहा हूं तो मैं डिविडेंड कहां से दूंगा? डिविडेंड इज ऑलवेज पेड फ्रॉम द प्रॉफिट्स अर्न. अगर मैंने प्रॉफिट ही अर्न नहीं किया, देयर इज नो क्वेश्चन ऑफ पेइंग डिविडेंड. सो ई माइनस डी, सो अर्निंग माइनस डिविडेंड, दैट मीन दैट मनी व्हाट यू हैव रिटेन्ड. रिटेन्ड मतलब क्या? मैंने 100 रुपया अर्न किया, उसमें से 40 रुपीज डिविडेंड पे किया, तो 60 मैंने अपने पास रखा है. That is called as retained earnings. So the amount earned minus the amount distributed as dividend is called as retained earning. That is the reserves what I have retained, which I will use it in future. Okay, that is the logic. Now, after this, what you will do? This brackets na R upon K. D के बाद R upon K. R means the rate of return or the expected rate of return by the shareholders. If I am a shareholder, I am investing, I have my expectation, मुझे 12% मिलना चाहिए, 15% मिलना चाहिए, 20% मिलना चाहिए. So R is the rate of return expected by the shareholders, and K, you all have done it in TYBAF. This is my cost of capital. Every company, when they issue capital, share, equity, preference or debt, everything has a cost. So the average cost is called as cost of capital. So K is the cost incurred by the company together on all the sources of finances. Normally here we take equity, but cost of capital is the total cost incurred on all the sources of finance. If you don't have debt, it is only on equity. So K is cost of capital, and whatever is my numerator, entire thing you will again divide by K. Okay, you will again divide by K. Sorry, मैं थोड़ा artist कम हूँ. So this is nothing but K. Got it? So let's take one by one. I'll write below the formula what stands for what. Where P is equal to market price per share, or you call it as expected market price. D stands for dividend per share. D stands for dividend per share. E stands for earnings per share. Okay. R, as I told you, expected rate of return or the rate of return. Okay. Expected return or the rate of return, and K is cost of capital. Okay. So P market price per share, D dividend, E earnings per share, R rate of return or the expected rate of return expected by the shareholders, and K is your cost of capital. Got it? This is the formula. Now you get market price per share as per the Walter model, where he considers the dividend paid, the earnings made, the profits retained, that is the difference between the two, what is the expected rate of return expected by the shareholders, and what is the current cost of capital. So keeping in mind all these factors, he has developed his model. Got it? So on that basis, now let us solve an extra sum what I have made. Okay, all of you all have the question. Let's solve the sum. Let me check the angle. Yeah. Okay, chalo. I have made this extra sum before we start the practical. Before we start taking the sums from our sheet. Okay, let's read the sum. ABC Limited earns 20 rupees per share. Its expected rate of return is 15%, whereas the cost of capital is 10%. According to Walter's model, as I told, I'm just taking one sum on Walter. What should be the price per share, that is P market price per share, if the dividend payout ratio is 25%. Dividend payout ratio formula में नहीं है, but it will be required for calculating D. Okay, chalo. First, let's write the formula again. Now, this is the extra question what I have made, and we are solving to make the concept easy. First, let's write the same formula. P is equal to D, E minus D into R upon K, and the entire numerator you will divide by K. Okay. I'm not writing this again, because if you get a sum in exam, you will get only one sum. So when you're solving this sum in the exam, you will write the formula, you will write what stands for what, and then solve. Already यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है, इसके लिए I am not writing it again. Okay, but you all will write it when you एक ही बार लिखो, but when you solve it in exam, please write the whole thing. Clear with this, guys? Got it? Chalo. Now let's solve one by one. Earns 20 per share, that is E. Now सबसे पहले मुझे चाहिए D, that is dividend per share. What I told you, No company will pay dividend unless and until they are earning. So पहले पैसा तो कमाओ. First you earn, then you pay. So now see the last line. Dividend payout ratio is 25%. You all have done last in ratios. Now, when I say dividend payout ratio is 25%, dividend payout ratio is 25%. That means कंपनी ने जितना भी अर्न किया है, डिविडेंड पे आउट रेशियो मींस कंपनी ने जितना भी अर्न किया है, out of that earnings, this is what they have paid. So when I say dividend payout ratio is 25%, if the company has earned 100 rupees, they have paid 25%, that is 25 rupees in the form of dividend. If the company has earned 200 rupees, 200 ka 25%, 50 is what they have paid in the form of dividend. So dividend payout ratio means that portion of the earnings which the company has distributed in the form of dividend. अभी देखो यहाँ पे I'll just put it in brackets. The earnings is 20 per share and the dividend payout ratio is 25%. So in this particular sum, my D will be 20 ka 25%. I'm putting in brackets. 20 is earning per share. Uska 25% is my dividend payout ratio. That means 20 ka 25%, that is 5. So my dividend is 5. Put a bracket. How we got 5? 20 ka 25%. E. Earnings is 20 minus D. Already I have calculated 5. Hope you all are getting it, guys. I am putting the calculation in bracket. 20 rupees is earning. Dividend payout ratio is 25%. So 20 ka 25%, 5. That is my dividend per share. 20 is earning, 5 is dividend. So 20 मैंने earn किया है, उसमें से 5 dividend pay किया है. 15 rupees I have retained, I have kept with my own self. And into R upon K, now be careful. R and K will always be in terms of percentage. Expected rate of return is 15%. Okay, that is R. Now don't write 15 because it is percentage. Instead of 15, you will write 0.15. Instead of 15, you will write 0.15, and this you will divide by cost of capital, which is 10%. Again, don't write 10, write 0.10. Don't write 10, write 0.10 because it is expressed in terms of percentage. So see now, I'll just brush up the numerator again. 5 is dividend per share. Earn 20, 20 ka 25%, 5. 20 is earnings. Usme se I paid dividend 5. So the amount retained is 15. That I'll consider with expected rate of return of the shareholders and the cost of capital. Expected rate of return is 15%. So I'll write 0.15, which is 15% only. Formula you'll have to write 0.15 divided by K, that is 0.10, and this entire numerator I will divide by K, cost of capital, that is 10%. Got it? Now let's substitute further. So 5 plus, now why I am putting in brackets now? It's only for convenience of this calculation. 15.15 upon 0.110 upon 0.10. Now see guys, what you will do. 15 है ना, now divide first. 0.15 को 0.10 से divide करो, you get 1.5. 0.5 को 0.110 से divide करो, 1.5 upon 10. Now what you will do? 5 plus, now 15 है ना, so 15 into 1.5, you get 22.50, and entire thing you divide by 10. 5 plus 22.5 gives you 27.5 divided by 10. 27.5 को divide by 0.110 करो. I'm just shifting it here. You get the answer as rupees 275. Therefore, P market price per share is 275. Getting it? That means if one follows Walter model, the expected market price is rupees 275. If one follows Walter model, expected market price is rupees 275. Expected market price is rupees 275. Clear? That means what? If the share of this company is available in the market at 275 or less than 275, I will buy. But if it is available at a price of more than 275, it is expensive. You should avoid buying, or if you buy, you take your call whether you are willing to take the risk or not. As I told you, market mein there are different shareholders having a different mindset. Some want more dividend. They don't mind if the market price is less. Some want higher market price so they can get higher profits per share. उनको dividend से फर्क नहीं पड़ता. So every investor, every shareholder has a different mindset. It depends upon his calculation, what he is expecting, and according to that, he will follow a particular model and he will take his own call. So in case there was commenting to be done, जो आगे जाके हम लोग करेंगे, if the current market price is less than 275, it is advisable to buy. If the current market price is more than 275, you should avoid buying. That is the concept of Walter model. Got it, guys? So this was the concept of dividend decision. We discussed what is dividend, what type of decisions the company has to take depending upon the factors. I discussed the 4 models which you have in your syllabus, and we discussed Walter model and we solved a sum on Walter model. That's it for this session, guys. Please listen to the video carefully, and in case you have any doubts, connect with me. Doubts है वापस वीडियो देखो, उसके बाद अगर कुछ प्रॉब्लम है connect with me. And please do this properly, because next 2 to 3 classes will be based only on Walter model, where calculations will be based on this formula only. There will be big sum. You know how a company, they'll give you 4 different situations. Expected return is this, cost of capital is this, cost of capital is this, expected rate of return is this. So different calculation. Sometimes the earning is different. Generally earning is same only. They may vary. Suppose this is the earning is 50 rupees. Get Walter if the dividend payout ratio is 20. Get a market price as per Walter if the dividend payout ratio is 40. If the dividend payout ratio is 60, 80, 100, what should be the market price? Such variations ke basis pe the sums are to be calculated, but the formula is this. So please get the concept of this particular sum so that you will find the next 2-3 classes very simple. That's it, guys. I wind up here. Hope you all found the session interesting. This is open on YouTube. Please enjoy the session and get the concept. Remember, getting the concept is more important rather than solving, because when you go in practical life, concept is what matters rather than how much what you all have scored in exam. I've mentioned this in my other videos also. That's it. Take care, guys. See you all in the next class.